SeizYourBusiness.com podcast with Tony Rourke and Kevin O'Flaherty.
SeizYourBusiness.com, making you money.
Share it on Facebook, share it on LinkedIn,
Twitter,
Twitter.
our blog, YouTube videos, listen to our podcast, getting so hot that it's burning up the stereo.
Welcome to the SeizYourBusiness.com podcast, coming to you from our speakeasy in lovely downtown Downers Grove, Illinois. Our guest today is Ken Adams from SIPCom.com. Our hosts are Kevin O'Flaherty from O'Flaherty Law and myself, Tony Rourke from ADR Business Resource Group. If you find the podcast helpful, or if you want to help us, we would appreciate it if you would review us on iTunes or share our podcast on social media. So without further ado, I'll hand this off to Kevin.
All right, Ken, thanks for being here with us today. Why don't you, before we talk about your business, our topic today is going to be releasing yourself from the prison of a day job and unlocking your potential as an entrepreneur.
Perfect.
So we'll talk for a couple minutes about your business and get some general tips that you've learned in the course of your experience, and then we'll move on to kind of an open discussion about the topic. So,
Sounds good.
So tell us
Tony,
about your business.
Kevin, thanks for having me this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
SIPCom, it's sip-com.com. What we do is consulting services for multiple types of businesses, whether it's telecommunications, managed IT services, entrepreneur just starting into a new venture. So what we find out there is that most people have an idea, they start a business, they're good at the one thing that they do, but they don't know how to put all the rest of the pieces together. So that's where we come in, and we partner with multiple different companies. So we kind of approach it as the business in a box model. We'll come to you with our peeps in the background, and we'll teach you how to run your business and give you the services and facilities and any of the help that you need to get you up and running and get you to a plateau where you can actually hire your own employees. You can move on to the next level, and you as the business owner can continue to focus on what you do best, whether it's creating a widget or selling the widget or talking.
So you kind of tailor it to every individual business, tailor
Yes.
the services that you provide, and you just help them get set up as a business.
Exactly.
How did you get started in that?
I have run and owned 2 businesses myself from the startup phase and failed miserably twice. Number 3 was a success finally. On average, if you look and you talk to some of the entrepreneurs out there, on average, you're going to redefine your business at least 9 times before you get that hit. And unfortunately, some people don't hit that until they're in their 60s. Some of them are success stories like Ray Kroc with McDonald's. Some of them aren't. They waste their entire life savings at that point, and it's unfortunate. So with the experience we have of running and starting and failing in our own businesses and learning how to recover from those failures and how to let go of control of our businesses to succeed, that's what we want to bring out to the rest of the world. That's our message. That's what we have to train other entrepreneurs how to think. Their thinking is a little bit skewed because you want to do everything yourself because you're an entrepreneur. I can do it. I can work 20 hours a day,
Right.
So no, you shouldn't do that.
Have you ever read the E-Myth book?
Yes, of course I have.
So it sounds like that's your philosophy. The E-Myth talks about working in your business less so that you can work on your business.
Absolutely.
And delegating and systematizing things.
Yeah, and my second favorite book is The 4-Hour Workweek.
Oh, I haven't read that one. I've heard
Tim
of it.
Ferriss.
Tim Ferriss, yes, very good one. So good point from there is, and as you guys all know, we're all bogged down with email these days. And I do this pretty much everywhere I work. I set an auto response to my email, and it basically says, I only check my emails at 8:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 4 p.m. If it's an emergency, you can contact me here, and I give them my direct number.
That's great. Yeah, I've had lots of people, when I get bogged down, say, "Oh, why don't you respond to my email in an hour or in a half hour?" Well, sometimes you're in meetings, sometimes you got stuff you
Exactly.
have to do.
And you're also involved in emails that you shouldn't even be part of because you're CC'd on a string that just keeps bouncing back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, you have to say, take me out, or you just don't respond to it. So what happens is when you set the expectation to people emailing you that, look, I'm a busy guy, I'm not ignoring you, but if this is an emergency, you can call me here. You'll find out that there really isn't that many emergencies. and it really wasn't that important.
Sure.
So
what are some of the strategies that you kind of teach the business owners you work with to give up that control?
sure. So the first thing is we basically point out to them how they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So it depends on the business. For instance, you're a lawyer. You don't do accounting. You might know how to keep books in QuickBooks because we all have to learn that as an entrepreneur. You know, okay, QuickBooks, do this, do that. However, you shouldn't be doing your quarterly taxes. You shouldn't be doing your filings. You shouldn't be doing your payroll services, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard not to control that. Trust me. You want to know what's happening. But the best thing I ever did, and this was in business number 2, I outsourced it to an accounting firm, and they sent somebody over once a month to handle the books for me, make sure our invoices were correct. We still did our own invoicing and collected money, but their job was to come in and ensure that our books were prepared, ready, and our taxes were paid on time. Payroll taxes were good. Payroll was taken care of. So they submitted the payroll reports, submitted the tax reports, cleaned up the books for us, and did all that heavy hitting in the books. And I'll tell you what, it saved me probably 16 hours a week having them come in and do that service for us. And it was less money for me per hour than I would pay one of my technicians.
Well, and that, there's a false economy when you think, well, I don't want to pay somebody to do this service. I'm going to do it myself. Well, the time you spend doing that stuff that can be delegated, whether it's outsourced or internally,
Right.
the time you spend doing that stuff, you're not building your business. You're not, if you bill out hourly like I do, you're not, being productive.
Exactly.
So, if you can pay somebody, even $20 or $30 an hour to do something, and you can bill $150 an hour for what you do, then you're making money. You're not.
That's
right. That's a do a math.
Yeah.
That's called do the math.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And that's the issue though, is because as an entrepreneur, you are that take charge kind of guy or girl or woman, or these days we have 15-year-old millionaires out there creating, bottle cap jewelry and stuff like that, which is great. But you think they know anything about accounting
Not a clue.
or online marketing or any of that kind of stuff? No. So they actually have to find friends and family or professionals to do that stuff for them. So it's the same thing. You're right. Why would I, as the owner of a company, knowing that I can, book out $150 to $250 an hour, do something that a $10 or $12 an hour employee can do? Or I can contract for a year and get a stellar rate for somebody else to do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make sense.
Do you help business owners create systems in their business so that the knowledge isn't in their employees' head? So if they want to delegate a task, do you talk to them about systematizing that task and
Absolutely.
writing it down?
Yes. And, it's the same old thing, and we've all heard this from our grandmothers, an ounce of prevention, right? So take the extra time to document what just happened. And then when that employee leaves, guess how easy it is to train the next employee,
Right.
and it's there. And that is another almost fatal flaw in entrepreneurs. We don't take the time to document our processes, document what it is we do and what we do well. And it's not because we're afraid to share the knowledge. It's just we think we're too busy. And instead of taking the 15 minutes after taking care of a customer to take down 2 paragraphs of notes and some bullet points into a document management system or a knowledge-based system or a wiki, we use a number of different things depending on how the people are within the individual businesses with technology and web stuff, so it all caters to the individual businesses. But you have to take the time to do that. And what you'll find is, it takes me a little bit more time now, but 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now or a year from now, when I have to hire replacements because people have moved on, or when I bring new people on board because I'm growing, I have this great system I can point them to. And the first 2 weeks, I tell them, your job is to know the articles in this system.
Mm-hmm.
We will help you. We'll do the training and all that stuff with you, but your homework is not to work, it's to read this.
Sure.
Got it. I want to ask you a question, get back to something you said earlier, or kind of expand upon it. What services, how do you specifically help a business owner?
Oh, sure. So it depends on what stage you're in. If it's a brand new startup, We know a lot of people, other entrepreneurs that we partner with for certain things, depending on what the startup is doing. Okay. So, for instance, if I'm a tech guy and I'm starting a new app, or like an Uber type of thing, right? So I have this great idea, and I know how to program it. I can get my app published and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know how to do marketing. I don't know how to do accounting. I don't know how to get the word out to the masses, because when you make an app, it's not just putting it on the app store and all of a sudden you're going to get a bazillion hits. It doesn't work that way. You have to have something viral to go with it, whether it's a quirky YouTube video, some kind of a podcast, whether it's pay-per-click campaign, with Google AdWords and stuff like that. So you have to get that message out and you have to get that ad going, or not the ad, but the app going, and generate buzz around that. And normally you'll see, if it's not a business-to-business app, you're going to generate tons of buzz on Facebook. All you need to do is give the app for free to like 100 people on Facebook. Click here, try this out, and you're going to find it self-generates the buzz. Now, what happens is now the money starts coming in. Now, I'm an app developer. I have no freaking clue how to use QuickBooks. Mm-hmm. So that's where we come in, and we bring a partner company and say, look, we have special rates set up, or you can contract yourself, but this is who we recommend. You're welcome to find somebody else, but let us manage the process for you when you bring these outside people in, to ensure that they're running properly and they fit good with your business. Because if you bring an accountant in and you have personality issues, it's not going to work.
So it sounds like you're almost an outsourced COO, basically.
Pretty much. That's what you could sum it up that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Don.
Do you have a particular niche or segment of businesses that you like to keep focused on?
My expertise is telecom and IT. Okay. So I love it when a tech company comes to us and says, look, we've hit a plateau. We don't know how to grow to the next level. Or, hey, we want to start up. This is our startup budget. What can we do within this budget? Those are the kinds of projects that I like, because I'll go in and I'll find all these bits and pieces and I'll get them set up, and I can give them telephone, voice over IP services, telephone services. I can get them, whatever IT services that they need, because you don't just want to go run to Best Buy and outfit your brand new office and use the Geek Squad. No offense to the Geek Squad, but it's a little bit different because every business has different needs. So that's where my partner companies come in, and the stuff that I can't do, or that my people who work directly for me can't do, we bring in our partner companies, and it's trusted partners, and we introduce them to our customers, and they're each introduced as their own entity. We don't have them work underneath us or anything like that. And we have agreements with each other. It's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of deal. I don't set it up to make money off of my partners, nor will I partner with someone who wants to make money off of me. We're in this for, you could say, the greater good. We all make money off of it, sure, but we also are trying to ensure that you, as a new business owner or a fledgling business who's kind of reached their plateau, succeeds. Because if you succeed, the rest of us succeed. If you don't, I'm out of business.
That's very interesting, because I've been driving around in the Downers Grove, Lyle area, and there's a couple of new businesses I've noticed. One is a restaurant that's going up 153 where Clara's used to be. So do you work with restaurant owners? Because that seems like to be a good target, because that's one of those ones, man, they only got 3 to 6 months to make it or break it.
And that's it.
And they're gone.
So on that side, the expertise that I could bring there personally would be the most value savings as far as the point of sale systems, their phone services, online reservation services, online ordering services. Okay. And then I would have to bring in partner companies for the rest, because my background is not the restaurant industry. Although I'll frequent the restaurant in the first 6 months. I'd kind of be a food critic. But yeah, absolutely. It really, when you look at what we do, you can actually transcend almost any business model. It's not going to work for a mom and pop dry cleaner, because dry cleaner, or something like that. It has to be something where you have to draw attention to it, where you need to get the masses aware that, hey, there's this new business out there. And sure, you could do things with the Chamber of Commerce or some of these other clubs out there, but it doesn't generate the mass media that you need. It generates local media, which is good. And I'm all for Chamber of Commerce, and being active in the Chamber of Commerce is the key point. You don't just sign up and do nothing, otherwise nobody knows you. So so what we do, okay, what are you going at? What audience, what genre are you going for? So again, even in a restaurant, it's the same thing. It's no different than the app developer, because the app developer is going for specific age groups. And in some cases, they are going for a specific genre of people, right? So are restaurants. So they're going after a specific clientele, and we can help them cater online advertising. We can help them drive people to landing pages for them, to special pages. Here's our specials for new people, whatever it is that they want to do, and definitely help drive people to their restaurant via technology, online, web, stuff like that.
Okay,
so
got it. Great.
Do you develop that marketing strategy for them in-house, or do you have a partner that does the marketing?
We do the basic marketing strategy and outline, and then once we get to a point where there's X amount of budget, it's typically over $5,000 a month if they want to spend. Then we bring in a big scale marketing firm.
Okay, but you can handle the kind of early stages.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the topic today, which is unleashing your entrepreneurial potential.
Sure.
You're writing a book on the subject, right?
I am. It's called Avoiding the Job Zombie. Look for the ebook soon.
Tell us about what you talk about in the book a little
Sure. The premise of the book. So just picture this. I'm an office worker. I'm sitting in my cubicle. I do the same thing day in, day out. I stop at the same Starbucks every morning. I stop at the same place for lunch to get a sandwich every day. Maybe once a month, I venture out somewhere else. I go to the same happy hours with the same people from the same office all the time. That's a normal work day. What do you do with yourself there? I do my job. What's your job? Excel worksheets or whatever it is. You pick it. I don't care what industry it is. You're sitting at your desk punching information in the computer almost all day long. In between there, you're checking Facebook, your bank, you're thinking about what you're going to do after work, how many stops you have to do, and all this stuff. Meanwhile, outside in the real world, you don't realize the zombie apocalypse has started. And this is metaphorical, obviously. But so what I'm saying is the zombie apocalypse in my book are the people that are waking up and seeing, look, micro businesses are the way of the future. You look at the people who are making money now, and take off big business stuff. We mentioned earlier that 15-year-old girl who started a bottle cap jewelry company, and she is like a millionaire. I read something on her a few weeks ago. She's 18 now. She has, I think it was 35 people working for her. And she has like a $5 million a year company, all from a stupid bottle cap. Okay. And it wasn't the bottle cap was great. It was, she picked it up and said, I could do something with this. Her in her mind, she was thinking this is a good way to recycle things and all this stuff. And she turned it into a business. You see these things popping up all over the place. And it's because someone woke up in their cubicle and said, what am I doing? Why am I wasting my life doing this? In America, it's unfortunate because our school systems actually teach us to be what I call a worker bee.
Train us to be employees.
Yes, they train us to be good employees. So we go to work for the big companies so they can make more money. Great. They help the world go round. Very good for that. However, I don't remember the last statistic, but 80-something% of all the businesses are small businesses. Out of the small business owners, the percentage is even higher, somewhere close to 90% that never finished college, and somewhere around 50-something% never even finished high school. So I have the statistics, in my book, so you can see them when I release it. But that's the statistics. I mean, if you look at that and walk around downtown Downers Grove, yeah, we have a couple chains,
Yep.
and they own 1, 2, or 3 restaurants or something like that. But these are all entrepreneur businesses here. Why is that? Because somebody had an idea and they said enough's enough. Or maybe what woke them up was they got laid off from that job they thought they'd have forever.
From that education.
Exactly, from the education. So here's a question for both of you guys. Kevin, I know you're working in what you got your degree in, but out of your immediate friends, and immediate friends, typically you have 5 people that you're very close to, right? So out of that group of 5, how many of them are actually working in the field that they got their degree in?
Very, very few.
Exactly.
Very, very few.
So what was the point of all the education?
Right. Well, and the way I think of myself, as the owner of a law firm, I really love law. I love practicing law, but the real education came from running the business, and I could set if for some reason I couldn't practice law tomorrow, I could set up another business selling a different widget.
Exactly.
And in 2008, when everything came crashing down and there weren't jobs for people, I think the landscape changed where everyone's got to be their own brand now. You can't rely on a steady 40-year career at one company.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's getting so hard these days. I see these posts on Facebook where, especially that are African American oriented, where somebody's talking about, okay, how do we increase the wealth? And my argument has always been, well, get out of that job, because I don't know anybody, my 50 years around, or 50 times around the sun, I don't know anybody that had a job that is wealthy. Not one.
You're correct. So job stands for Journey of the Broke. I'm sure you've read it in some of the books, or just under broke, whatever, however you want to say it. The problem is, and if you want to use terms like that, you're always working for the man, period. Whether the man is Baxter, whether it's, Blue Cross Blue Shield, McDonald's, you name it. Mm-hmm. It's great. You learn how to work hard at those high school jobs that you have, or maybe right after, during college, waiting tables or being a bartender. That gives you some good work ethic. But the problem is, like you hit it on the head, if you want it, and I'm not even going to call it wealth redistribution. If you want wealth and you want to find something you're passionate about and go out and do that. Because in America, you can make money doing anything. And if you're passionate about it, you're going to make a lot of money doing it. But the key is you have to have the right people surrounding you, because you can't do it all yourself.
And that's what you can help with.
We try our best. Yes.
This interview could go for hours, I fear, because he comes up with so many things that I just want to not question you, but question the rest of society.
Sure, we could do a follow-up podcast and just ask questions to society.
This is just one of these things I would just love to hear your opinion of.
Sure.
Okay? What is your opinion of? You ready?
I'm ready.
The whole minimum wage increase bandwagon that people are on, and what is your belief about how that's going to force business owners, mostly restaurants, to really kick up and get into the kiosk business?
Well, you hit it right on the head. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of necessary because if you look at inflation versus wages, like minimum wages are still like 1960s if you actually look at it versus inflation. I'm not saying we're getting paid like the 1960s.
Correct.
I'm just saying if you look at it versus inflation and costs, that's about the pay scale that you're looking at. Okay. If you don't do something for that, unfortunately, you have people going further and further in poverty. But again, they could do something about it themselves. The unfortunate part about it, and I don't believe it should have happened. So my opinion is it should have stayed, and we shouldn't force minimum wages on private businesses, period. If you want to do that for government and public type entities like that, totally understand that. And it's probably needed in those kind of entities, but not in the private sector. Let the private sector do what the private sector does well. They generate a lot of money for the economy. And this isn't a political stance or anything like that. These local mom and pop businesses, guess what they do? They go buy stuff in the community for their business to resell. So they're helping the same communities that they're in. So let's take that. All right. Let's quote something from Hillary Clinton, which I rarely ever do. It takes a community. you know what? She's right. Not to raise a child, it doesn't take a community. It takes a community to actually make the community what it is. Okay. So if I have a business, a storefront business here, I sure would expect the other small business owners to buy my cupcakes from my bakery for their parties, because I'm going to go across the street and I'm going to buy my branded pens or whatever else I need from that guy. And I'm going to get my clothes cleaned at the cleaners 2 doors down.
Or eat lunch there.
Or eat lunch there. And I'm going to bring business clients there. And that's how you make it go around. You don't force higher wages mandated at the state or the federal level, because what happens is then I put these small businesses out of business. They can't afford it. Or I raise prices as a small business owner, and now every Friday night when I have people waiting to get in my restaurant, I have empty tables.
So to circle back to the zombie apocalypse, when it's one thing to say, you know, I was laid off, I can't find a job anywhere,
Sure.
I'm going to start my own business. You know, I have a friend that's an attorney, that's in a cushy attorney job. He's got a ceiling on how far he can go in that company, and he's been talking for years. Yeah, you know, I'd love to start my own firm. Can't take the plunge because there's all the risk associated with, you know, I'm gonna give up my salary that I can live off of.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head in the background. There's a video.
Yeah,
You'll be able to see it.
They see it.
What do you say to someone that says they're, you know, that's got the comfortable job and it would love to be an entrepreneur, but is afraid to take the plunge?
Okay. Did anybody see The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
I did not.
I did.
I
not.
watched it the other day for the first time. Not the type of movie I would generally go see. It was on cable. It was free. So I turned it on. I was like, kind of interesting. What happens is he works at Life, the magazine, and basically they're out, you know, downsizing, getting rid of everybody. During all this going on, he's tracking down this one photographer because he lost a negative, and it was supposed to go on the last cover of Life magazine. So he goes on this tour around the world tracking down this photographer. And he's in Iceland. He's in, you know, Greenland. He's all over the place. Places he would never have gone in his life. So those people who say stuff like that, life is too short. You're going to wake up one day at 50-something years old and go, why did I waste my time riding a train to be a partner in a law firm, missing out on a whole bunch of important things in my kid's life, my wife's, whatever it is that's going on in your life. You miss things out because you're working up that corporate ladder. Get off your ass. Don't worry about the salary and go do it. Because if you're really passionate about it, you're going to make money. You'll be fine. All right, sure. If you want to be conservative, set up 6 months of savings. You know, put it in an emergency fund. Quit your job, you have 6 months cushion. In 6 months, if you think you can't make it, go back and get another job. Again, you're going to redefine or you're going to fail so many times in your business. And it could be, I failed to do my accounting right. It could be this, it could be that. I missed the mark on something. I hired the wrong people. But you will fail. The secret is fail quickly.
That's something we talked about in our first podcast episode.
But I think the other issue with, you know, making that leap, just jumping off that cliff and just, oh boy, here it comes. You know, there's a lot, and you guys know this, there's a lot of fears.
Yeah.
The biggest one being fear of failure or fear of screwing up. Like, full disclosure, I'm working on a website with this man, and people I'm using, it's been driving me bonkers. You know, and sometimes I have one of those moments. I feel like a flat out failure. I know I'm not, but you just feel that way. And I think, you know, we got to figure out how to help. How do we help somebody get over their fear so they'll make that leap?
You're right.
Because that's the heck with the money. I mean, I could go out and get a job right now with no problem. I don't want to, but I had to get over all my fears just to get to where
Sure,
I'm at.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing is everybody's afraid of something. You know, when you're a kid, you're afraid of the dark, or you're afraid of the boogeyman, or you're whatever it is. There's fears that are out there. And then you realize that those fears are unfounded. As we get older, there's expectations set on us from family members, from the community, from people in our own peers, in the business world. They set expectations on you. And absolutely, on the back of your mind, you're always afraid of the failure. The difference is when you stand up and say, okay, yes, I'm afraid of the failure, but I'm going to do this anyways. I'm going to walk through the failure. You'll never be afraid of failure again in your life. I can make excuses all day long about why I wouldn't want to quit my job. You got to sell everything, like you said. I got benefits. I can have this. I have this. I have this. But guess what? You can walk in the door tomorrow and you're locked out. You're not even going to make it in the door. Because the way businesses are run these days, unfortunately, the larger businesses, there's a lot of fancy bookwork going on. There's a lot of other stuff going on. And people are a liability. You don't have the 40-year, here's your gold Rolex, thanks for working for us, and here's your pension anymore. It doesn't exist in this, and it won't ever again. Those days are long gone. If you want that kind of stuff, you need to go to an emerging country. That's just now waking up to a lot of this stuff. So get over your fear and move to another country if you want a job, where you can work for 40 years. Otherwise, get over yourself. You're not going to die. Yeah. The worst case is, oh boy, I have to claim bankruptcy or something. So what? How many more years do you have left of your life? Get up and do it again.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to go ahead and make we need to do this 4 times a year, okay, minimum, because this guy is rocking.
Yeah.
I love you have no faith in the job market anymore, do you?
No, and again, when it's necessary, I will definitely go back to the job market. If I need to go somewhere for a year or two to get back on my feet or something because I failed, sure, I'll go back to the job market. I won't stay there long.
Just do it to build capital for your
exactly.
It's just a short-term endeavor.
It's just a short-term endeavor. That's
nice.
It. Absolutely.
That's really cool.
So, again, you can't be afraid, and it's not groveling or anything like that. And it's not going against who you are. It's an ends to a means, right? I had that backwards. It's a means to an end. So, great. I failed in 2 businesses. I went back to the corporate world both times afterwards. I made some money, got my emergency fund together, and quit and went right back out and did it again. And I'll probably do it again like 7 more times, which is perfectly okay.
And you're perfectly fine with that.
I am, absolutely.
That's
I'm
so
comfortable
cool.
with it. In fact, I encourage it. I love to, so, and I hear this argument all the time. Well, it takes a certain personality type. No, it doesn't. If you're sitting behind your desk saying that I would love to go out and do this, the only thing that's stopping you is you. It's not the salary. It's not the benefits. It's not your wife. It's not your kids. It's not your mom. It's you. You have a choice to make every day. You can choose to be the job zombie, stop at Starbucks, the same one you do every morning, go to the same place for lunch, go to the same happy hour with the same assholes that, excuse my language, that you work with, because you only go because you don't want to go home right away. Get home at 8 o'clock at night, eat a cold dinner, kiss your kids who are already in bed, and then get up and do it all over again the next day. Or you could get up the next day and say, I'm done with this. There's something I'm passionate about, and I'm going to go out and do it. You see it all the time. I mean, I don't know if you watched Apple's watch announcement yesterday or not, but they featured that lady who's trying to empower women, and she does marathons all over the world, and they gave her a watch for the health activities and all that stuff that are on the watch. So they brought her up on stage. So what happened is this lady woke up one day and said, corporate lady, all this stuff, said, I need to help empower women all over the world. And that's what she did, and that's what she's doing. And guess what? She's highly successful at it because she's passionate about it. And you see these stories every day in every community throughout the world. This isn't just in America. This happens everywhere. Someone wakes up, they're no longer a zombie, and they go out there and they do something.
I love the reference.
Yeah, well, I'm into The Walking Dead and stuff like that, so it was just fitting for me to write the book around that theme. And it actually works because you've been in the corporate world, and you've been in the corporate. You go and you see the cubicles, and what happens? A noise, and everybody pops up.
Yep, I see a bunch of heads.
Well, it's no different if you're a zombie. You hear a noise and you wonder if there's flesh there, so you go towards it.
I like it only because it's hard hitting.
It is.
It's just like,
hard hitting
what?
with comedy in there, right? You have to be nice about it. But yeah, it's I want people to realize I do want to hit them on the forehead, with the 2x4 like I'm whacking a zombie, because you really are.
Well, I'm ready. Where's this book?
Yeah, so
When's it ready?
When can we expect the book to be out?
Okay, so what I want to do with the book is release it like 3 chapters at a time in ebook format. I'm 2 chapters into it. I have to write the 3rd chapter, and then I have to have someone proof it for me. So I'm hoping by May I'll have the first 3 chapters up and out.
How many chapters total do you think it's gonna?
It's gonna just keep evolving. It's
just gonna
ebook.
keep going?
It's an ebook. So as long as I have stuff to write about, I'm gonna keep writing it. But I'll release it like 3 chapters at a time.
So will you do 3 chapters and then the next 3 chapters will be a separate ebook, or will you do?
It'll be an extension. So
Okay.
I might change what these 3 chapters are about. So the whole book itself is avoiding the job zombie, but then each section of the book will be a different. Like the first three chapters is all about waking up. There's an apocalypse going on out here. Look out your window and see what's happening. Stop going to the same Starbucks every morning. Stop getting on the same train every day. Stop looking at the same miserable people riding the same train going home every night. Go do something about it. And that's the whole thing. It's so if you're a Walking Dead fan and you've seen it, Rick wakes up in a world of chaos. He's in the hospital from being shot. He wakes up. IV is run out. He has no idea what's going on. These muscles are almost gone. He gets out of the hospital. And the first thing he sees is this woman who's half a body crawling towards him, trying to eat him. Imagine waking up to that.
That's the funniest thing.
Yeah, I know.
So it makes me laugh because one of the things I do during the spring and summer, and I think you've seen me do this, I work from home. So I get up in the morning, get dressed, and purposefully come out to Starbucks, grab a cup of coffee, and go sit at the train station. I do that for about a half hour, 45 minutes, and I'm all good. Because they're just like the Walking Dead.
They are
getting into that train, and it works the same way in reverse.
Yes,
and it's just amazing. So I love that book title. Oh man,
it's fitting, and it's been fun to write the first 2 chapters. And during the stuff that I'm doing now with the travels, I try and write a lot of it on the plane ride. So
Ken, if someone wants to stop being a job zombie and join the apocalypse, and they want your help, how can they get through to you?
So the website is sip-com.com. My name is Ken Adams. You can find me on LinkedIn in Chicago. You can reach me at ken@sip-com.com. And I have my contact info on the website and on LinkedIn as well. So.
Thanks so much for being with us today. It's great.
That was
interview.
a blast.
Thanks. I had fun, guys.
That was great.
Looking forward to the next one.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Fast forward Sunday morning when we flash back to Saturday.